Premier League legend Michael Owen joined the breakfast show this morning and said that he isn't surprised that Isak wants to swap Tyneside for Merseyside.
Yeah, but has football ever been any different? Certainly not in my generation. You know, you get top players and, you know, if a Berbatov or something came available at a Tottenham, then Manchester United used to buy them. If any decent player comes available, the big boys come and eventually, you know, they move. And it is sad because you want competition in football. But, you know, you put yourself in a player's point of view. If we didn't have, and I know people will say, you know, you should stick to this and do that and whatever, but if you didn't have ambition, then football would be not. It's all about players. You've got one short career, trying to win as much as you can, trying to get to the best team, and that's what drives everybody. And people will say it's money, and it's not. A lot of people, most footballers just want to be in the best team, playing in the best competitions, winning the trophies. And unfortunately, this scenario will never ever change.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Who doesn't want to be a winner? And that's perhaps what Isak wants, more than just the League Cup that he's achieved so far with Newcastle here in England, certainly. Do you see him any way back for him at Newcastle, first of all?
Yes, of course. Yeah, if he doesn't leave, then yes. If he, it's strange timing for the Newcastle fans to accept it, given not much is happening as well. I know they signed Alanga, but not much is happening in terms of transfers. When Ekitike signed for Liverpool, the next day to say, right, I want to explore my options, shows me he's had his head turned to a certain degree. But look, Newcastle hold all the cards here. He's got 3 years left on his contract, which if they want him to honour it, he can. He can't refuse to train or play because you get fined. There's certain fines you can do every time he does that. So he's not going to do that. As soon as he scores a couple, if he stays at the football club, he'll be integrated back in, by the way, by the players. No doubt about it. I've been in these situations before. But
the players right now, they're not going to be like, oh, I can't believe he's doing this.
It doesn't affect the players.
No.
It really doesn't. When I was at Newcastle, there was a few more Geordies there than there are now. And yeah, they would have found that a bit disrespectful because that's their beloved club, as everyone that supports the club would feel supporter-wise as well. But they're not there anymore. They're players. It's a business. They want to win, of course. If he stays, they'll be delighted that he stays. He'll still be mates in the dressing room with them all. If he scores 5 goals in the first 6-7 games, the supporters are still going to celebrate and cheer. It's just the timing of it. They're in a catch-22 at the moment, Newcastle, for me. They fall to, not his demands, as it were. I know previously he was stating that 300 grand a week is what he's asking. I think he's on around 120, so double and a half that what he wants is an increase. So Bruno Guimaraes, Anthony Gordon, Joe Linton, Tonali, they're all going to say, well, where's our new contract? But then if they accept this as well and let him go, there's still time left. A few of those players, again, might go, well, where's the ambition of this club? Like, I want out as well. Get on the agent and say, look, get me out of this football club. So it's real difficult. But you can't fall to a player's demands. They hold all the cards, Newcastle. If they say, right, okay, you can go, 150 million. That's what it will take. Whether people think he's worth that, whether people laugh at that price tag, if he's worth that to Newcastle, and someone has to fork up that money. I think Liverpool might. I think they might be able to do that. Then go out and buy, you might not like it, Johan Visser. Ollie Watkins, for instance, we've just spoken about him.
Yeah.
Another player. You'll have change as well. Another player or two. Not replace Alexander Isak, because you can't replace a talent like that. But you can't have a player bigger than the club. It's never been that way, and it never will be that way. It'll be a huge loss. But sometimes you have to go, right, cut your ties and say, well, if you don't want to play for us, if someone forks up 150 million, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not quite the same example because Morgan Gibbs-White didn't refuse to turn up for training with Nottingham Forest, but obviously,
handled it well.
We saw that there was a suggestion that he could have moved to Spurs if that had all gone through in the way that it was expected when they had triggered that release clause. But in the end, Evangelos Marinakis has just signed agreed a huge new deal for him and talked about how he's pretty much the centre of everything they want to rebuild at Forest to continue to grow and in strength as a club. Now, that's the kind of thing you'd probably, from a Newcastle perspective, from Newcastle fans, they would want to see. That the owners of Newcastle will just turn around and go, we're going to do what Forest did with Gibbs-White and give Isak.
Again, though,
the contract he wants.
Yeah, like I said, though, Nottingham Forest is very early in that stage of Morgan Gibbs-White being given that contract. So we don't know the backlash. We don't know the domino effect this could have for some of their other good players as well.
True.
And the issue being what is being reported of what Alexander Isak wants. Yes, of course, you'd say pay it. But they don't pay those kind of wages. And if 5 or 6 or 7 more players say, well, why... He's getting 300. I want 250. I want double my wages. It is a domino effect to players. Players know in the changing room whether you've signed a new contract and roughly what you'll be getting. And if you feel as important, like Bruno Guimaraes will feel as important to the team as Alexander Isak, he'd be questioning, well, where's mine? And it would upset the apple cart, as it were, in the dressing room. And we haven't seen the domino effect at Nottingham Forest just yet because it's still early days in that.
Well, let's get to some more of your calls, shall we, on this whole scenario. Let's get to Paul, who's a Leicester fan. How you doing, Paul?
Hey, Paul.
Good evening. I feel like a bit of an imposter ringing up about the Premier League when we're kind of from the outside looking in again for the season. we're hopefully, just going up and forward, what is an established Premier League club? We've been in it 20 years in total, nine in one strot. No disrespect with Brentford, Palace, and all them. It just shows you got to. That's what makes it great. You got to be looking. You got to keep getting better all the time, haven't you? You know what I mean? That's the thing. But we'll be back. But going on to the point, listen. There's a food chain. When we were in the Premier League, when we were in the top half, we only sold to Chelsea, Man City, Maguire to Man U because you're there. So the Isak thing. Look at Mahrez. We'd won the title, and he wanted to go to Man City. So there's a natural food chain. It's like, and that's it really. What can you do? And it's like that's when we're getting a lot of things right. But he wanted to go, and that's it. And there's a food chain. And obviously, Isak. You talk about no disrespect to Newcastle. We won the League Cup. Good. You're talking about what possible, not probable, possible top 4. But with chances of winning the league, you know what I mean? It's one of them. It's not like he wants, we won the league and he wants to go. There's a food chain, and Liverpool are at the top of the food chain. This argument.
I think the argument is, Paul, don't you think, is how that food chain changes, and it only changes if a club like Newcastle, with all the wealth in the world that can't use it because of PSR, can keep hold of a player like that. That's the only way the food chain changes. But are we ever going to see that unless they release the shackles a little bit on the rules?
It morphs, doesn't it? It fluctuates. I mean, when I'm still proud of this now, as much as I know. We came 5th and 5th. I think that's fantastic. You think, in hindsight, 5th and 5th. I don't get any of the other clubs with the big thing would ever do that. And we tried to push it up to the big 4. Okay, made a lot of mistakes, obviously financially, but we just tried to do that and got penalised for it. Yeah. But then it's really difficult. But then obviously look at his net, like i.e. Palace, Brentford, and that they could probably come in for our players are now. So it fluctuates all the time depending on how weak or strong you are, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Good call, Paul. Thank you very much. Mick, how are you doing this evening?
Hi, Mick.
Hello, yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Hi, Darren, I think you might have to get your boots back out, son.
You're primed, you're ready.
You can definitely afford me, I tell you that now, Mick.
Well, do you know what it is? There's 2 things I want to say. One is that, I think it was 3 years ago, they sat down with Isak and his agent, and they hammered out a 6-year contract that all parties were happy with. We all know that. They're all happy with it at the time,
Yeah.
What gets me is that, we talk about financial fair play. So what's fair play about this? So the agent has agreed a 6-year contract, had his money up front, yet his client only, does 50% of the contract. I would love to see something in the thing, in all the contracts where if a player loses, the agent has to be 50% of the money back, or a third of the money back, or because it's an absolute disgrace what's actually went on. I would love to be a director of football, by the way, because I would be having games in Liverpool. You know what I would do? Be first. They come and say, you want Isak? Yet you can have him £50 million, but we want one of your players. Which player do you want? Hugo Ekitech.
And they'll go straight away.
I think they'd do it, to be fair.
And then what's going to happen? So then what happens is that they'll go like, "Are you joking?" And we go like, "Well, okay, well, we're off. We'll give him for 20 million in Hugo." No. and then 10 million for Hugo. And then what you do is you say to Isak, look, you're not that important to them, right? And then you go to Hugo, the agent, he says, I tell you, they're trying to get rid of you,
So tell me then, Mick.
Put your CV in, Mick, for director of football.
You've got a different take on it altogether, Mick. I like it. You'd be running circles around everybody. But Mick, what I want to know is, that you're hoping to keep hold of Isak, but even before all this stuff with Isak was coming out, there was suggestions of Yoann Wissa coming to you from Brentford. So the domino effect is now you're affecting Brentford because of what's going on. So if you are director of football of Newcastle, who are you giving Brentford if you're having Yoann Wissa as part of this deal?
Elanga.
Well, yeah. There'll be some agents making some money, wouldn't there? But you said you want to keep Isak. I'll be honest with you. I don't want anybody to play for my club that doesn't want to be there,
Yeah, I get you.
But what I do want is I want the club to get the best they can money. And if that's 150 million, it's 150 million because I think what Isak's done is an absolute disgrace, by the way, to leave it so late. He could have said very earlier on at the start either he's happy to stay at Newcastle or when he came up with a statement that he wants to look at other options, he could have said that months ago.
Yep.
And then we would at least have had it right, okay, and we know where we stand,
Yeah, I'm wondering though, Mick, whether he has done that behind the scenes and we didn't know, and it's gone on and on and on, and it's forced him to come out publicly. We don't actually know the ins and outs. I'm sure we either won't find out the ins and outs, or if and when he does leave, then the ins and outs will come out of how long it's been going on for. It will baffle me if he waited even till after Ekitike signed for Liverpool, the day after, to actually show his hand like this. It will baffle me that no one knew about this.
Yeah, well, we all know that those things go on and players get tapped up. It's just common practice, isn't it? It's you can go back to like with Chelsea with Ashley Cole and the the furrow over that, But I just they talk about that there's got to be some sort of ethics within the football. If they're trying to make things, there is no. I hate the term financial fair play. There is no fair play in the financial structure that's on at the minute because clubs like ourselves have got no chance for it to progress.
I agree.
None whatsoever. Yeah. It's going to take us a decade. Now, if it takes us a decade to get to where the Man Cities are, do we then become like a Man City, like a bully boy? Like in another clubs, like at the bottom, probably Sunderland, by the way. But anyway, clubs that like lower down. I just think it's wrong. You're talking about feeding down, and you're talking about like everything down to grassroots football. What you're saying is, in professional football, you can get to a certain level, and then you can't go any further.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, Mick. Sunderland have spent more than you in this summer window. That's for sure.
They're allowed.
Yeah, there is that. Great call. Thank you, Mick.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.